Yay, movies! Hey, everybody. 2015 is coming to a close. And this is going to be my top 10 best movies of 2015. My opinion, obviously. Now, this list is dependent on the movies I've seen. I'm not going to put movies in there that I know were good, but I haven't seen yet. So I first want to talk about the movies I did not see and will be seeing at some point. I just have not gotten to them yet. But I have a feel. I was looking forward to them, and I think my list would change if I actually saw them. So that's why I wanted to give a shout out to them, because I think they would be good. I'm hoping they would be good, and I've heard some good things about them. First one's Maggie. I didn't see it at first because it popped out of theaters really quick. But, I'm getting kind of tired of the whole zombie storyline. However, it's not the action horror zombie thing. And that's what intrigued me. It's more of a drama. The father wanting to save the daughter kind of thing. It's not like Dawn of the Dead or anything like that. And I wanted to see if Arnold Schwarzenegger could actually do drama instead of just action. So I do want to see it. I'm getting it eventually here soon, so I can watch it. But that was one. Inside Out. I like pixel movies. I heard The Good Dinosaur wasn't as good, but I haven't seen it yet. But for the most part, Pixar has good movies, and I like them. And I have a feeling I'll like Inside Out. Just haven't seen it yet. Trainwreck. I like Amy Schumer. I think she's funny, so I would want to see Trainwreck. From what I saw, it looks funny, but again, haven't seen it yet. Southpaw. I didn't watch it at first because I thought it was just a Rocky ripoff. I heard some really good stuff about Jake Gyllenhaal, his acting, and that it was kind of a Rocky movie, but it was good. So I do want to see it. I just haven't yet. Mr. Holmes. I was really disappointed that I missed that one in the theaters. That one looked really good to me. I like Sherlock Holmes. I like all of the Holmes storylines and stuff. And they took a new twist on it. And I was really curious on what they were going to do with that. Ian McKellen, I think, would be perfect as Old Man Holmes. And I like the idea that they're going for more of what a realistic Sherlock Holmes would have been. Someone that the books would have been based on instead of the fictional character. So I do want to see that one. Straight Outta Compton, that's my time era. I mean, that's when I grew up. I was listening to mostly metal, but some rap also back then. I mean, everybody was. And I like their story. So I'm kind of curious if Ice Cube's son can really act like his father. I think that would be really weird to try and act like your father. But the trailers looked awesome. I just didn't get to it. So I want to see Straight Outta Compton. Black Mass. I love the trailer for Black Mass. Johnny Depp doing something totally different. And so I want to see that one. I know a little bit about the real guy. I would probably research him after seeing the movie just to see where the differences were, but I would want to go into the movie fresh without any information. Spotlight. That one looked really good to me in the trailers. Again, that one popped out before I could get to it. I wasn't able to get to movies very quick in the theaters this year. But of course, I didn't even start my YouTube channel until a couple of months ago. So, Spotlight, Legend, Tom Hardy playing twins, two totally different characters. I found that really interesting in the trailer. I'm not sure if the story would hold up, but I really want to see that one. The Hateful Eight, that one out here doesn't really come out until the 30th, so I don't know if it's going to be good. But the fact that Tarantino filmed it in 70 millimeter, old timey, awesome cameras. They even had to refurbish original cameras just to be able to film this movie. I find that really interesting. I give Tarantino huge props on that. And that he's trying to take it back to that, 40s and 50s feel of going to a huge 70 millimeter movie, with an intermission and all that stuff. So I think The Hateful Eight would be good. I don't know if it'll be as good as Django Unchained or Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, but it looks interesting. I like the take that they're doing on that. The Revenant. Now, although that one came out on the 25th, it was only limited release. We're not getting it out here until the beginning of January. So from my point of view, it's actually a 2016 movie. However, I can't put it on my 2016 list because it technically came out in 2015. But I have a feeling that if I did see it, it would be in my top 10. I just can't do it because I haven't seen it. But the movie looks amazing, and I cannot wait to see it. The Big Short. Now, when the 2008 crash happened, I was really interested in learning about what happened. All about the credit default swaps being put into those derivatives to make the derivatives go faster so they could sell them. And the credit default swaps are basically just insurance policies without money backing them because they changed the name and that the federal government didn't require those things, which is stupid. And all of the subprime loans that they kept putting out there so that they could get credit default swaps to fill up these derivatives and sell them for billions of dollars. I mean, that's really what created this huge crash. And to see it from the point of view of the guys that saw that ahead of time and then bet against all odds, bet against the economy thinking that it would crash, I really want to see that. And the actors in it. I love the actors that are in it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that too. All right, so that's enough of the movies that I want to see this year, but I didn't get to. Let's get to my top 10. This is a top 10 of the movies I've seen. So that's where I'm going with this, okay? So don't hate on me if The Revenant is better. I just haven't seen it yet. That's why I mentioned it before. So number 10, Avengers Age of Ultron. It's number 10 because it was a fun popcorn movie. I really liked Ultron. I liked what the voice actor. I can't remember his name. Guy from Blacklist, Reddington. He was in Stargate. Anyway, you know who he is. I think he did a really good voice. I liked Ultron. I think the character was built up and destroyed too quickly. The comic books, it's a lot longer, taken decades. But, I mean, how do you show that in a movie? But I didn't think it was as good as the first Avengers movie. The whole thing with the taking the land from Eastern Europe and turning it into a meteorite and then killing off Quicksilver and all that stuff. I don't know. The whole ending part I wasn't too fond of. The rest of it I liked, and I did like the movie. I enjoyed going to the movie and eating my popcorn and liking it. So that's why it's number 10, but it's not anything above it. Number 9, Bridge of Spies. I was pretty surprised with that movie. I knew that it would be pretty good going in. It had all of the good backing for it, Tom Hanks and Spielberg and everything, but it was better than I expected. I expected, a pretty good thriller, but the whole political thing in there surprised me. It was a lot more intriguing than I expected, so I was impressed. I liked that movie a lot. Number 8, Man from U.N.C.L.E. that one really surprised me. I thought it would be, or, all right, I don't mind watching it. And when I saw it, I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. Really surprised. The characters were intriguing. I loved the humor. They had some really good humor back and forth, some good quick wit between the two. And yeah, just overall, I really liked the movie. It was a fun movie to watch. And it was interesting. I was never bored. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's based on an old 60s TV show, but probably one of the best TV show adaptations I've ever seen. Number 7, Ant-Man. I liked Ant-Man more than I thought I would. Now, part of it could be the humor. Michael Pena was awesome. He cracked me up so much. We need more Michael Pena. We need more of him. We need to put him in the MCU as a regular character. I would watch him in every movie. He's so awesome. That character was so awesome. And yeah, I found it a lot more fun. With the way that it was directed in the scenes where they're fighting on a small scale and then they zoom out and it doesn't look like it's much, and then the small things that became big. And it was a super fun movie. I really enjoyed watching it. Number 6, Kingsman: The Secret Service. Another movie that really surprised me. Now, although they try too hard to say it's not a James Bond movie, where they're constantly over and over, and Samuel L. Jackson's choice of doing a lisp was a little was distracting at first, but after a while I just got used to it, and it was fine. Way too much product placement in that movie, but it kind of added to the humor, so it wasn't too distracting. But the rest of the movie surprised me how good it was. The action sequences, the humor, the directing, the cinematography. One of my biggest things about action movies, when you do a fight scene, I absolutely hate the close-up, quick-cut edits, and you have no idea what's going on. Kingsman filmed it right. They pulled the camera back, they did longer takes, they actually spent the time to train the actors to be able to do the fight, and that's how it's supposed to be done. Now, it's not as good as some of the Hong Kong movies and the Korean movies, excuse me, that come out where they pull the camera back and it's like full on, 5-minute long shot fight, but it was still a lot better than most action movies out there that came out. 5, Creed. I love Creed. Now, I'm a huge Rocky fan, so I might be biased on that, except for Rocky 5. That one we can forget about. It never existed. But Creed, awesome. What I loved about it is it had the Rocky feel and tone, the way that the story is played, but the characters and everything in it were their own. It was their own movie, and you could really tell with that director, what was his name? He did Fruitville Station, also with Michael B. Jordan. But what I loved about this movie is the characters were on point for who they are and where they are, and Rocky was just there in the universe to help out. But he wasn't the main person. I was afraid that they would focus too much on Rocky and not on Michael B. Jordan, but it was the total opposite, so I was really happy about that. And with Fantastic Four, excuse me again, oh my gosh. With Fantastic Four, I was really worried about Michael B. Jordan because he's not a bad actor, he's a good actor, and he was just in a bad movie, and I didn't want it to affect him. But super smart, Creed was right behind it, and just made us forget about Fantastic Four and the fact that he was in it. So, thank you, Creed. Creed saved Michael B. Jordan. We're going to get more of him. Yay. Happy. 4. Ex Machina. I'm sorry. Ex Machina. Ex Machina. Sorry. It looks like Machina, but it's not. It's Machina. And this was a big shocker for me. I liked this movie a lot more than I thought I would. With a lot of dramas, I'm a little iffy, just because I feel like I can get bored too quick. I was not bored for 1 second in this movie. I was engaged and could not look away. I was so interested in what the characters were going to do from one scene to another. The psychological impacts between all three of the main characters were intriguing, and the ending was awesome for that movie. So, Ex Machina, go watch it if you haven't seen it. Good movie. I think it might even, win some awards or at least get nominated for writing. Number 3, The Martian. Again, I was a little surprised. I thought it would get a little boring, like Gravity or 2001 Space Odyssey. I mean, it is about one single dude on Mars for most of the movie. And there's not very many movies about one guy for most of the movie that are really good, except Moon. Moon was good. So, The Martian, the humor was on point, and it wasn't distracting, and it made sense because he's talking to his journal, which is a great way of giving exposition to the audience without blatantly giving exposition to the audience. He's doing it through his journal, which he was supposed to be doing anyway. So I loved The Martian. Again, totally engaged through the whole thing. Loved it. 2, Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road. Oh my God, that movie was insane. Oh, practical effects, real stunts, not very many CGI. Furiosa. Mad Max didn't really do much. He grunted a lot. But awesome. The characters, the action, best action movie in a long time. Maybe even the last decade or two. I mean, just insane. I loved it. I loved it so much. I needed a smoke after that movie. It was so good. And my number 1, which my friend Germ is going to be disappointed with, but it's Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, it's not a perfect movie. I know it's not a perfect movie, and I talk about that in my 2 reviews, my spoiler-free and my spoiler movie. But when I saw this movie, it made me feel like a kid again watching the original Star Wars. It totally blew the prequels out of the water. It will make you forget about the prequels ever existed. Even though I don't hate the prequels, I don't love them. And this movie is so much better than those. Even with the negative points of the story, the awesomeness of the movie totally outweighed them. And it really set up for 8 and 9 to be different and awesome. I'm really excited for what Rian Johnson is going to be doing for 8 and 9. I know that him and Abrams have been talking about like where the story was in the first one and what he would want to do for the next 2. And Abrams really set the tone for what the next movies will be. Although the story was simple and kind of a rehashing, and I go over that, it was necessary for all of the characters that they had in there to be able to make the characterization. And the characterization is so important in this movie because we can move on to great story in 8 and 9. But we need that characterization to be able to create those arcs. Otherwise, the arcs aren't going to make any sense. And we just spent a lot of time creating some new story that didn't really matter for the first movie because it would be another bad guys create something, good guys kill it. So without wasting so much time and taking it away from the characterization, I think it's the best Star Wars movie that we could have gotten. That's why it's my number 1. It made me feel like I was 10 years old again. Going to the theater. No, I was 6. I was 6 years old when Return of the Jedi came out, and yeah, I would only put it even with Return of the Jedi because of nostalgia of Return of the Jedi. But as a movie, Star Wars The Force Awakens is better than Return of the Jedi. I only make them even because of nostalgia. The only two Star Wars movies better than The Force Awakens is New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, but in reverse order. Empire Strikes Back, then Star Wars A New Hope, and then Force Awakens, but I put Return of the Jedi there too just because. So those are my top 10. What were your top 10? What movies did you absolutely love? What was your number one? Comment below, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you guys on the next video.